You're listening to Kizuki, the podcast. I'm Mae Yoshikawa, and I define the Japanese concept of Kizuki as the following. Kizuki 1. A moment of epiphany, an aha of realization or insight which opens the knower to a new dimension of truth that was formerly unknown. 2. Steps in an incremental growth of awareness, resulting in a movement from ignorance to greater awareness of the bigger picture. A kind of knowing that cannot be undone, that cannot be unrealized. As a longtime yoga and meditation practitioner, a world traveler, and curious self-explorer, I'm obsessed with Kizukis. Listen on each week for inspiring and enlightening stories that may just tip you over for your next aha. On this week's episode, the smartphone addiction. The other day, I posted something on my Instagram. It was primarily in Japanese, titled, スマホという名の静かな麻酔. A quiet anesthesia called the smartphone. This reel sparked an avalanche of responses. I had comments, DMs, and a couple of friends even mentioned it to me when I met them. And that's when it hit me. This is a real sore struggle for a lot of people. A lot of good people who want to live a good life. Personally, I don't struggle with smartphone addiction myself. I can go hours without checking, days if I wanted to, and I step out without it. I don't sleep with it in my bedroom, and I'm just not really tied to it in that way. But suddenly, I saw how deeply this thing had woven itself into the nervous systems and brains of the people I love. Friends, colleagues, students. These are smart, sensitive, thoughtful people, and they're telling me that they honestly feel addicted, like it's a real problem. And it's probably true. It's one of the most socially accepted forms of addictions out there in modern world today. So today, I want to speak not from my struggle, but from what I've come to see with clarity. Because sometimes the one who's not caught in the web can maybe offer a clear reflection. I want to be clear, this isn't about blaming anyone or blaming you or you blaming yourself. But I do hope that it might be about a kizuki, a realization, and maybe a return to your sense of balance. In case you happen to be one of those people, like my friends, who are somewhat aware that they might have a phone problem, let's start here. You think you're reaching for your phone to unwind at the end of your day, to rest, reset. But I want to gently suggest that might not be entirely true. That's realization number one. It's not really rest, at least not pure rest. It's more like avoidance. Not always, but oftentimes, yes. Because the scrolling becomes a way to mute some internal discomfort, a way to numb yourself from feeling something else that's going on a deeper level. Whether it's to escape relationship troubles, boredom, loneliness, or some quiet, gnawing voice that whispers, "This isn't working. This relationship hurts." Or maybe even, "My life sort of sucks right now." Sometimes, well, actually a lot of times, when such a signal is painful to admit. We numb away from it instead of facing it head on. And the scariest part, many times we don't even realize we're doing it. But here's the kizuki. If you're not conscious in your downtime, that is, if you're having to numb yourself, it's not really downtime. It's dissociation. And that kind of disconnection actually has a cost, which brings us to realization number 2. Each time you check your phone to zone out, that is, to choose to not be present, you're not just wasting time, you're subtly ghosting yourself. That's what I mean by the phone becoming an anesthetic. It's a convenient tool that points away from your present moment, from your breathing, away from the person beside you, and away from your inner compass. And maybe even in the long run, from your life that's unfolding before you moment by moment. I also want to reiterate that this erosion of conscious awareness, it doesn't come in a loud way. It's the kind that sneaks in and you don't even notice it until something important is lost. So here's what I want to offer today. 3 tiny shifts in case you want to take this moment to reclaim your choosing. Okay, this is going to sting a little. Practice number 1. I know this one might be hard for some of you, but I promise the hardest steps can be the kindest for yourself. I just want you to begin by carving out a little time, a little date with yourself, maybe just 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and ask yourself these questions. What am I avoiding in my life? What am I most afraid to look at? What do I really need? Is it soothing or stimulation? And lastly, how can I best give myself one tiny little step, something closer to what I truly need? And you don't have to answer these questions perfectly. The purpose is in taking the time to ask, because then you're present with yourself. You're present with your life before you. Practice number 2. I love this one. I live by this one. Create sacred no phone zones. Start small. It can just be minutes or tiny places like mornings, meals, 1 hour a day. And I don't want it to have the feeling of like rules and restrictions, like I must not, a sense of blaming yourself or punishing yourself. I want this to feel like a sacred kind of devotional thing, a protected space where your soul knows that you're not reachable by any external noise or any random person who might text you, and you're not available for numbing because you're choosing to be so present during that meal or during that hour, and that's your choice. But I want you to do that as an active promise to yourself. Okay, one more. Practice number 3. Remember this truth. Your phone actually isn't the problem. It's not really the nemesis here. But it might be your biggest and nearest temptation and your co-conspirator in ghosting yourself. And this is what I need you to remember. You deserve better than that. You deserve to be present in your body, in your skin, in your moments, in your life. You deserve to feel home and safe and aware and cared for within yourself. And that always starts with you. In case that makes you sigh, I also want to remind you that you're actually not far from being present and true to yourself. Presence is never far away. It's never a long-fetched effort. It doesn't take much. It's really just one breath away. Thank you for listening. Learn more about me and my Kizuki Journaling Mae Y method at my website, kizukijournaling.com. That's KIZUKIJOURNALING.com. Or find me on Instagram at MAEYOSHIKAWA.